Hello everybody, welcome back to Basics. I'm your host, the Crazy Uncle. Today we're going to continue on our series about cold weather survival. Now this is strictly for those times where you have to sleep outside a house. Now, as you can see, it's for bedding down, or as we like to say in the Army, prep for night. Now, if you have a vehicle, a lot of you are going to want to sleep in the vehicle, but look, if you can't keep the engine running, that thing's going to turn into an ice box. It's not going to help you at all. It might protect you from the elements, but it's going to be freezing in there. It will not get any warmer inside than the temperature outside. That's just the way it is. The car's freaking metal, and there's glass on the windows. There's no insulation at all. So, if you're outside the vehicle, here's what you got to worry about. Alright, first thing you gotta do is you gotta insulate from the ground. Okay, the easiest way to do that is find pine needle duff, is what they call it. And that's the dead pine needles. Or pine boughs. Now the difference being is that you want pine needles, no branches, when you are in an area where it's cold but no snow, and pine needle boughs when there is snow on the ground, mainly because you can't get the pine needle duff. Now the main thing is when you go down here where it says sleeping pad, if you're in the summertime and you're just using the pine needle duff, use an inflatable mat. They're more comfortable and they're just better. They usually get you off the ground better and you don't need all that much. However, if it's cold outside, you want a thicker one. The kicker is if you're using pine boughs, you still have the branch. The branches have a lot of little spikes in them. I don't care what brand it is, it's going to freaking pop if you use it on pine boughs, because that's the branch itself. So get a foam mat in that case. Now I see a lot of survivalists that are out there, a lot of winter campers. They'll do this with the pine boughs and they'll actually have a foam mat and then the inflatable mat on top. Whatever floats your boat, no pun intended. Just make sure that it's level when you get that insulation so you don't slide off in the middle of the night, and then what's the point? You're back on the ground anyway. Now, on top of your pad, that's when you're going to have your sleeping pad, preferably with a bivy bag, okay? A bivy bag is quite literally a waterproof sack that goes around the sleeping bag. Most of them, if you get them from the same company, they'll snap together, and that pays friggin' dividends. It's a lot easier. You can already have it pre-rolled up. Works out great. Alright. Once you have this set up, this is your base. Okay? You're all set up to sleep, but you still need overhead cover. Whether it's going to be a tarp, whether it's going to be a tent, I don't care. Okay? Some sort of overhead cover, because no matter what, moisture is going to come down. It's going to lay on you, and you should already know by now how much you want to stay dry. So it doesn't even matter if it's bushcraft skills that you made your shelter from. You want protection from the outer elements. Okay. Also, make sure once everything is set up, you bring your equipment underneath the shelter with you. You do not want to wake up and all your equipment just be soaked. One of the old tips for this is have several trash bags and use that trash bag to go over your pack. And then you can stand up against a tree, and even if it does come down, only the very bottom is going to get wet. So keep that in mind. Now, once you have this set up, you can move on to the sequence of what you have to do to get ready when you bed down. This is a tried and true sequence. It works every single time. Alright, first thing you want to do is you want to go take a leak. Okay? Get as much of the excess fluid and excrement out of your system as possible. Don't try to force it out too much, but get as much out of you as possible. After that, you need to drink water. Now, a lot of people don't realize this, but you get extremely dehydrated in cold environments. It happens. You just don't have the urge to drink, but you have to constantly drink water so you can thermoregulate. So once you relieve yourself, drink some water. Don't overdrink, or you're going to wake up in the middle of the night going, I don't want to get out of this bag. It's nice and warm, but holy God, do I got to pee. Alright, there's old camper tricks to deal with that, but that's not this video. Alright, once you've done that, now you can do these next two right here at the same time, is drink water and eat some high calorie and preferably high fat food. High fat foods so that they burn slowly in your system and they heat you up. That furnace needs extra logs to burn so that it keeps you warmer. If you get one of those Jimmy Slims or some sort of jerky, pemmican's the best. That is just, oh, that is so awesome. Okay, normal hiking food, it'll help, but it's not as good. Now, one of the things, if you have a bivy, not the sleeping bag, or I should say with the sleeping bag, you want to take your boots off and put them in the bivy bag. Make sure you knock them off real good. But you want to put them as far down to the foot as possible, not in the sleeping bag, in the bivy bag. I'm going to keep saying this, with your toes facing you. Reason being is that's going to cause a pocket of air away from your feet. It's going to create more ability for your feet to stay warm. This is extremely important. All right. I've known people who've done this, and they actually told me their feet were so hot they had to wipe them off at night. It's crazy. All right. The next thing you want to do is remove as much clothing as possible. Believe it or not, if you have everything set up right, you want to sleep bare ass. Reason being is because your body sweats at night. Doesn't matter how hot or how cold it is, your body sweats at night. So what you want to do is to be able to, even if you don't climb out of your bag, to be able to pull the clothing in and put it on you while it's nice and dry. Now, when you first wake up, just unzip the thing, expose yourself to the cold. You're going to get the initial, huh. Okay, that's normal. Okay, that is very normal. Just let the moisture get off of you. Put the dry clothes on. You'll feel a lot better in seconds. The only time you don't do this is in Arctic environments. Now, if you want to go into that, that's a different level than this. That is the extreme. All right, but you want to remove as much clothing as possible. The other reason you want to do that is, like, socks will restrict your blood flow. You want the blood to flow normal. All right. One of the key things is right here. You have to bring your water in the bag with you. I've done this before. I was on a training mission in Korea. I had my canteens. They were outside. Overnight, they froze into a brick. And they didn't thaw until I got back about a week later. Thankfully, I had other ways of getting hydrated, but it was just bad. So bring your water supply in with you. It might be a little cool, but believe it or not, it's actually nice to have that warm drink first thing in the morning. All right. Now, one last thing I'm going to talk about here is the additional layers, okay? Additional layers. Whether if that's throwing an extra blanket over you, if you have it, folding one up, putting it in your sleeping bag with you. I don't recommend that because it takes up some of the space. But your extra layers, make sure if you have them and you know it's going to be cold, you use them. It might feel a little heavy, but it's better than freezing. All right. And one last thing I'll say. Bring along an extra winter hat. And before you go to sleep, just pop that thing on your head, and you'll lose so little bit of heat. You'll be able to retain so much that even if it gets down to 20 degrees, I guarantee you're going to be nice and toasty. You're going to be comfortable. And if you've been hiking for a long time, you want to be able to crash. Because you want to be able to rest so you can hike again the next day. So that's it for me, everybody, because hopefully I didn't run this video too long, because certain tubes of you there want to limit the amount of time I spend until I get enough subscribers and likes. Hint, hint. And I'll catch y'all at the next one. This is your crazy uncle. I'm out.